Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your headline event. Cameron Osborne standing at 5'8".
Yeah, 5'8".
Yeah, it's 5'8". 160 pounds.
Wow, thank you. Oh my God, no. $149. Weighed myself this
I'm
morning.
the one speaking here. $149 here, fighting out of a scrappy background, street fighting background.
Yeah,
your challenger.
My background are those fights that you see on YouTube that clearly they're organized in some kind of way because there's like signage and a cage, but it's mostly just rednecks.
Oh, I think that's called backyard brawls.
Yeah.
Fighting out of his hometown of Markham, Ontario.
What? Jesus Christ.
Newmarket, Ontario. It's been a long night, folks. Facing off against the perennial champion, the perennial contender, and your 106, sometimes 79, sometimes 85 belt holder, Cameron LeClaire. Let's get ready to rumble.
Continuing
Tonight on Two C's in a Pod, 96.7 on your Two C's in a pod, 2 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 C's just like 2 C's in a pod, because we're 2 C's in a pod, just like 2 C's in a pod, 2 C's in a pod at gmail.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's on the podcast.
Hey, that was fantastic. That was a great buffer you got there, Cam.
Which one though?
The first one?
So Bruce does Let's Get Ready to Rumble, and then Bruce does It's Time.
But who's the dad? Because it's the dad and then the son.
It's not that. No, it's their brothers. And the crazy thing is the brothers didn't know they were brothers until they were like 20. So they were separated at birth, and then the story is that Bruce saw his brother. What's his brother's name? The one that does the boxing.
It's also like a B name.
Bruce and whatever the other guy's name is. So he saw him on TV and he's like, "Wow, that looks awesome." And then his dad's like, "Son, I got something to tell you. That's your brother." He's like, "What?" And then got to know him. He's like, "So you have these pipes and you do this for boxing." There's a really good documentary on the UFC site about it, just like the two Buffer brothers and how they both ended up having like kind of the same job, but in just competing organizations. And like, two of the best that do it, but just like, what the hell are the chances for two brothers that didn't know each other?
I mean, what are the odds? What are the odds, Cam? I mean, I guess you can tell by the sounds of our voice that you and I are not siblings. You and I are not brothers, because of course this is 2 C's in a pod. It's hosted by two guys named Cameron, but that's about it. It would have been crazier if they had the same first name. They were both named Bruce Buffer, and then that would throw everybody off. But this is 2 C's in a Pod's podcast. We're friends, and we don't get to see each other too often, so we decide to kind of tune in to 96.7 on your radio dial, and we just kind of make it happen every week.
Make it happen Mondays, positive Thursdays, and regretful Wednesdays.
Regretful Wednesdays? I thought Sundays would be regretful.
No, I enjoy Sundays.
Oh, who came up with Sunday Scaries, and what the fuck does it mean?
I don't know. I've never heard that before.
You've never heard that? Okay, listeners at home, of course, you've heard this term, 2seasonapod at gmail.com. I think it's something to do with like either A, you're hungover, or B, you're scared because Monday's coming up. But Sunday Scaries is definitely a term I've heard before and have had no clue as to why it would be used. But I think that could be a generational gap. I think there's a lot of things that I'll hear that I assume I'll never know what it means. And then I just kind of leave it at that.
I had this boss who was from Wales. Actually, I've had two bosses. You want to hear a small world? So my last boss was from Wales.
It's a tiny, tiny world.
That's the one. That's the world I'm talking about here, folks.
Yep.
So my last boss was from Wales, and then
a Welshman.
I think.
Or lady.
Yeah.
Or lady.
A lady. It was a male.
A Welsh lady.
It could have been a lady. Very well could have been a lady. Anyway, he was from Wales. I moved companies. And then like 2 months into the job, I saw that my current boss is from Wales as well. Not from Wales, sorry. He went to school in Wales. I'm like, how funny is that both my bosses are in Wales? And he goes, oh, really? That's a small place. Like, what town is he from? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, whatever, Abbotsford. Who knows what the town's names are there?
Abbotsford.
And he's like,
Abbotsford, Wales.
Abbotsford, Wales. And he's like, no way. Like, that's like 10 kilometers or 10 miles, whatever the units they use.
I'm pretty sure it's kilometers. I'm pretty sure miles was the whole point that the U.S. left.
Well, no, I think they use miles down there.
In the U.K.? Oh, I think it's more across there. But yeah, keep going.
Anyway, yeah, we're diverging. There's actually two things here. Anyway, and then he's like, no way, it's 10 kilometers from my town. And then he's like, what's his name? And I sent him a picture. He goes, that's my brother's best friend.
So they did know each other.
By chance, one currently lives in BC. The other one lives in Kitchener.
Mm-hmm.
Small world.
That's the way it goes down. Well, hey, Cam and listeners at home, of course, twoceesinapod@gmail.com. If you are ever in need of a prosthetic appendage, whether that be an arm, a leg, you could find yourself in Southern Ontario and you would certainly be directed to eventually end up contacting Paul Osborne, my father, to design for you that artificial appendage. However, if you happen to be on the west coast of Canada, let's say British Columbia, Alberta, and you find yourself in a similar need for a new arm or leg, your directions will be focused towards Paul Osborne of Edmonton, Alberta. That's right. The two top prosthetics creators in Canada are both named Paul Osborne. They both graduated from the exact same school year of a program that graduates 12 people a year. And I've met him. He's a great guy. He's not my dad. My dad is my dad.
You sure?
I did ask the other Paul Osborne, mainly because the other Paul Osborne is 6'3". That was the big takeaway, that this man cannot be my father.
Maybe you just stood beside him and you're like, you sure, Dad? You don't think...
I know. You have that moment where you're like, are you
cash?
sure that guy's not my dad? I'm like, Mom, look at this guy compared to the other guy.
Maybe you should have tried some trivia with him. Like, which one was your favorite Kill Bill? And see what he has to say. If he's like, I never watched the movies. Then he'd be like, okay. How many movies has Quentin Tarantino made so far? He's like, don't watch movies. You're like, okay, let's try something else.
How would that narrow down trivia for my father? My father falls asleep during the majority of movies.
Oh, that's like me. Maybe your dad's my dad.
Maybe you're my dad.
Maybe I'm your dad.
That's right. I did meet somebody a few months ago, a woman who was also named Storm. And I remember asking her the story about it, and it was much lamer than what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Like, I went to a Guelph Storm game, and
it was pretty much as lame. It was pretty much as lame. I was like, so I've never met somebody else with the name Storm before. Please, you got to tell me what the hell's going on here. And then she's like, oh well, yeah, like I was born during a thunderstorm. And I'm like, that's fucking lame. Of course, as you all know, I'm named after famous MLB Major League Baseball pitcher Storm Davis, one-time World Series champion, the 1987 AL Comeback Player of the Year.
They did Comeback Players of the Year then?
I think they still do.
That feels like the most improved in-house league.
They still do, which is it's a thing in the NFL that they still do kind of like currently, because there's often so many injuries that are devastating, torn ACLs, torn Achilles, and then you come back and then you fucking run the show. It's impressive. But it's a bit of a weird award to be giving out.
A little bit, yeah. I'd say it's a little peculiar. But I mean, yeah, in a sport like that, like you said, where people get injured. Well, baseball, I think, is like they always say, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So,
and marathons are also marathons.
And marathons
not
are
sprints.
like a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah,
not something I ever want to do either. Yeah, that's an interesting award. I was thinking about awards the other day because obviously the Super Bowls went on,
and obviously you use a lot of words, Cam, just kind of in your day-to-day
I use a rich lexicon.
Wow, I think I taught you that one.
No way. I learned that one in preschool.
Okay.
I went to the preschool of Welsh language.
Yep.
Anyway, I was thinking about it because I was watching them give out the Lombardi Trophy, and I thought to myself, I think the only sport that has the same repeating trophy, like major one, is the NHL, and that makes it the best trophy.
That's a good question. First of all, they all give out the same trophy.
Business calling.
Phones are going. I mean, we did take phone calls last week. Of course, we were taking some voicemails live as they were coming. The phone lines are open. You can reach out to us at
Do you want to have a caller on the line?
You can reach out to us at twoceesinapod@gmail.com and leave your voice note and leave all the things you have to say.
You're live on Two Season a Pod. What can I help you with, caller in?
No.
Our first hang up. Wow, that's a big one. That's a big one, Cam. I do know what you're saying. However, for all the sports, you all are given the same, or like you're given the similar piece of hardware. Cam, it's called Vibrate for a reason. So yeah, the Stanley Cup, like, you know, you get the Lombardi
It's
Trophy.
called Vibrate for a reason? Oh, the phone. Yeah.
Yeah, remember that thing that's going to be distracting you and all of the listeners and creating a havoc for whoever the hell has to edit and release this thing.
Yeah, Jim in production, but he's my bitch. Anyway, yeah, but they're all the same trophy, but like they're manufactured. What I'm saying is if you won, so like Tom Brady lifts that trophy above his head, he's like, yeah, I won this, but it's not the same trophy that name famous football player. I don't know. Who's that?
Former homicide committer Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis. Yes, not the same trophy as former homicide person. Ray Lewis / Hall of Famer. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
He's either is or will be. But he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. He's got my he's got my vote. There should be two wings of the NFL Hall of Fame. Those who made the Hall of Fame and those who had a Hall of Fame worthy career but also murdered somebody. And I think Ray Lewis would highlight that particular division.
Well, the UFC is starting to get a list.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, most of the guys who end up with deep legal trouble, they don't kill anyone, but they get in pretty, like the ones who actually kill people. These are also a record book similar. It was John Jones who was really pushing these forward because his title reigns have lasted for thousands of days if you include through his legal battles. Yeah, well, I mean, let's go over the list here. Starts off with, well, first off, it was discovered that he was hiding under an octagon while the testers came in and they're like, where's John? He's like, he's not here. He's like, okay, I'll wait then. And he stayed there all night. And then eventually they left. And, you know, maybe he was just hiding under the ring to play a fun game of hide and seek, or he would have pissed hot. Who knows? Secondly, he gets popped for steroids. Or maybe, this isn't probably the order. Maybe it's secondly, then he gets charged in a DUI where he hits a pregnant woman.
Yeah,
but
no, Cam,
what
see,
I
that's
do
the
like
big
to
one.
say about that.
The felony hit and run is the big. I don't care if you're
what I have
juicing.
to say about the felony hit and run. You don't know she's pregnant.
Oh, so your problem is it shouldn't. Not that it shouldn't have been a felony. Not that he didn't hit her with her car and then drove off.
Correct.
You're
Not
kind
good.
of concerned
Not good.
more about the, does life truly begin at conception? So you're turning this into a pro-choice thing.
I'm more so saying that, like, you know, he's a victim of circumstance. He's a guy who got, if it was just like, you know, this person gets a hit and run. You're like, oh, that's not good. It's like this person hits a pregnant woman in a hit and run. It's like that only came out after the fact. You know, his decision making was not changed because he didn't know that it was a pregnant woman.
And Cam, this may be controversial to say, but I am sick and tired of millionaire athletes being a victim of circumstance. I'm sick and tired.
I want to
of
see
it.
him back in the octagon. I don't need to see any of this legal battles.
If we hold them to such a gold standard, then the law should reflect that, and every charge should be bumped down. You know, a felony should be bumped to a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor should be bumped down to nothing. These are athletes we're talking about here. These aren't just normal people.
I think that's what happens in real life anyway. Anyway, after that, more drug scandals. There was the cocaine scandal. There was the one where he said that, it wasn't drugs. It was a rhino dick pill that I took that got me banned. And then there was the gun charge. I don't think he has any gun charges because I think he lives in Albuquerque. And guns a-blazing in Albuquerque.
Pew, pew,
Anyway.
pew, pew.
My point was that...
Yeah, what is your point?
How cool would it be if the UFC only had one belt? And if you won it,
sick.
you won it. And if you lost it, you lose it. You
No,
don't get to keep it, like the Stanley
two.
Cup.
I think we need two. We need a heavyweight and a lightweight.
They had that before.
But lightweight should be at 205 pounds and down, and then heavyweight is 205 and up.
You're naming literally the UFC before 1999.
Exactly. And guess what? Back when shit was entertaining. Back when it wasn't about, fucking bald fuck Dana White with his 14 cell phones walking around telling who can make money and who cannot make money. I want to go back to the days where a guy like Matt Riddle would shine.
Yeah, back in the juicy era.
Instead of faltering because he took a couple puffs on a bong.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you're looking for drug-free action, look to Bellator right now because they are hosting a tournament full of. Put it this way: I don't think the testing is that strict there.
Good.
And they're getting a few monsters that are formerly UFC fighters. Rumble Johnson versus Yoel Soldier of God Romero.
We as human beings deserve the best that God and science can provide. God can
Agreed.
only give us so much. Science has to fill in the gaps for the rest. And, I want to watch somebody run 100 meters in 8.2 seconds. I want to
see 7 seconds.
I
8
want
seconds
someone
is
to
slow.
shot. I
My
want someone to
attention span's
shot
gone
put.
by then.
I want someone to shot put the ball like they're throwing the javelin. It just does not stop.
I want to see like a frisbee.
It'd be so fucking entertaining. Are you kidding me? But until
What
then,
would you think the best sport that you can make full steroids legal in?
baseball. Baseball sucks. Steroids made it fun.
I think
let's
steroids
bring
are basically allowed in the NBA, bluntly.
Let's bring steroids back to baseball because nobody wants
Yeah.
to watch a pitching battle going to the 11th inning. No, we want to watch dingers and dingers.
I want to see underhands. I want to see them bring back underhand pitching.
Yeah, like in women's softball when they really gear up for that underhand and then toss it. I want that. That would be that's honestly what I want. I think that's the sport that could really benefit most from steroids.
You see the pitchers after one inning, just sweating their bags off. The crowd out there, they've hit 9 home runs already.
That'd be
this is
perfect.
going well.
Fucking set him up on one of those little pitching machines. I don't care. We want him to go yard every time.
Let's get rid of the wooden bats. Let's bring back in the metal bats and
Cork it. Hey, can we cork a metal bat? Let's make that happen somehow too.
I don't know the corking actually did anything. I know it was an idea.
I think it's
but I don't think it ever got proven
it's
to actually do much.
It's a perceived difference or something. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not that much about baseball. Cam, let's move on here with the show because we have some things that we have to address first, and I want to address some things from last week, but certainly we have to talk about some notes. Notes. We got some notes. We got some notes. We got some notes.
Okay.
I actually have some notes from also the week prior. We kind of skipped right over things from last week. We're just having such a hot show, of course. We did speak to Felicia Saitoti reached out to us. If you can recall, looking for money just as she kind of sitting there in prison. She was looking for $3.8 million and asked her if we could e-transfer her the money. Well, sorry, Felicia, we know you're listening, but it's not actually that easy because here in Canada, there are a lot of protections about how much money you can send somebody from all the major banks. For example, you can only send somebody $3,000 in a 24-hour period. Stretching even...
Sorry, how much?
$3,000 in a 24-hour period.
Which bank?
TD, CIBC, RBC. We're talking e-transfers because that's what Felicia Saitoti wanted. So you can only e-transfer somebody $3,000 in a 24-hour period. You can transfer them $10,000 in a 7-day period and $30,000 in a 30-day period. So Felicia did ask for the e-transfer, so we will follow her wishes. However, it will take us 127 days to e-transfer $3.8 million. So I think she's kind of shit out of luck on that one. I don't think she's going to be getting her money.
That's okay.
Especially with the $1 per transfer or per transaction, the kind of little surcharge there. It's just going to be fact. So we're going to skip that one, Felicia. And finally, Cam, this is my one for you, I guess. Well, not finally, but for you, I'm the captain now?
Yeah.
Abduwali.
I'm not going to get his name.
Abduwali Muse. You got to start remembering that one, Cam. But I think
Abduwali Muse, M-U-S-E.
M-U-S-E, but I think we're happy just kind of calling him Abduwali for now. Let us know.
What about Abdul? Is that a short form?
No, I think that's too much. I think we got to go Abduwali.
Abduwali? How about Wally? Can I call him Wally? Again, short form?
I don't know. Oh, no. I think we should just stick with the full
Captain?
thing. Let's pay the respect on his name. He is a captain,
Mr.
right?
Muse?
He is a captain. I think we should pay, Captain Abduwali, Captain Muse.
Captain Abduwali, Sir Captain Abduwali Muse.
Something like that, right?
Say his name.
Say his name. Say his name. Moving on from notes from the next week, though, we did ask ourselves a question like, what is MDMA and what is ecstasy? I think we were a little bit confused, kind of about the difference, and they're no different. Colloquially, they are known as the same thing. It's just kind of another word for it. MDMA, we often kind of get in that powder form, where ecstasy is something that's sold more in tablets.
Pill form.
You get a tab of ecstasy, but look out, because research and law officials often find that when they bust people for possessing ecstasy, what they will describe as ecstasy, it contains not only MDMA, but it can also contain meth, ketamine, cocaine, and a bunch of other shit. So you do want to watch out for that, because it is more than just getting your M on, right?
I haven't heard that term before. Getting your M on?
I made that one up right now, but it makes sense.
Get your freak on.
Exactly. See, you made the connection in your mind automatically. Our next question, our next correction from last week. Who shot John Lennon?
I'm gonna guess Abduwali Muse.
Now, you didn't even get it right that time, Cam. No, his name was Mark David Chapman. And see, I did say he had 3 names. I did mention he had 3 names, like all
Doesn't
good.
everyone have 3 names?
Like all good murderers. So, of course, Mark David Chapman shot John Lennon kind of for a couple reasons. One, he just didn't like the guy. And he was also obsessing over the book, Catcher in the Rye, believing that Holden Caulfield was his own personal hero, which is odd because this guy was like 30 when he shot John Lennon. But Catcher in the Rye is a story about a 16-year-old. So it's weird to kind of emotionally connect with somebody, half your junior. But he was mainly mad at John Lennon. He was mad that John Lennon compared the Beatles to Jesus. John Lennon preached nothing but peace and love and unity, yet he had millions of dollars that he did nothing with. This didn't sit right with a sociopath like Mark David Chapman. He apparently also, after he shot John Lennon and the crowd dispersed, he even stayed at the scene and was caught reading his copy of Catcher in the Rye when the police arrived to take him away. And of course, when the police were interrogating him, he did go on record by saying, "I'm sure a big part of me is Holden Caulfield. The small part of me must be the devil." So this is a bad guy who is out of prison right now, by the way. But like you said earlier, Cam, and like we kind of hypothesized earlier, all the good killers have 3 names. Mark David Chapman shot John Lennon. John Wilkes Booth shot Abraham Lincoln. Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK. What is it with these 3 named motherfuckers who's going to kill someone? Cam, I don't know if you have somebody in your life who kind of has these 3 names that they go by, or listeners at home if you do. Watch the fuck out.
I think this is where you're off. I think the media just gives them 3 names. If you killed someone tomorrow that was famous, they're gonna be like Cameron Storm Osborne murders the Nancy Pelosi, right?
No, I'm pretty sure at this point an 84-year-old would just die of natural causes. But Cam, you are exactly right there. The police, media, you give these people 3 names so they are not confused by the other guy named Mark Chapman, who has a job as an insurance broker. The other guy named Lee Oswald, who has a job as a construction.
Going around? No way. You think he was going around his life introducing himself as, what's your name? Lee. He's probably going Lee Oswald.
Right? He's not going Lee Harvey Oswald.
No, Cam, no, that's what I'm saying. The media gives them the 3 names so that everybody else named Mark Chapman,
I get you.
they can still live the rest of their life, even though they have the exact, or 66% of the name of one of the most brutal murders, kind of out there, or one of the most famous murders.
I guess that's why Michael B. Jordan has to go by Michael B. Jordan.
There you go. See, now it's all coming into there. But you were right on that one, because you don't want to be blamed, or just kind of that lingering thing out there. There's probably a lot of Michael Jacksons who didn't touch kids. They're still out there, though.
So apparently there's a guy on Twitter called John Jones who, as soon as the scandal popped up, everyone poured on him like, fuck you, John Jones. You're not the hero that I wanted my kids to be. And then he basically had to come out and be like, yeah, you got the wrong John Jones. Like, it's a pretty damn common name.
Yeah. yeah, guys.
I'm not the guy.
Well, guys, clearly my Twitter handle doesn't have bones in there.
Yeah.
You're looking for @JohnsBones Jones, not @Jones. But fuck, that's a tough word. That's a tough name to say. Very quickly, and finally, Cam, our final note of the day was simply death row. We were asking about our kind of like our death row meals or whatever have you, and the real question was, why does death row take so long? And of course, each case is going to be different, in each and every single state. But the reason things take so long is because, judging by the state and the case, each prisoner is still allowed to have their various appeals, to being on death row, and their appeal is put in line just like everybody else's. If there's 100 people in front of them, it doesn't matter if they're on death row, they may still just have to sit there. But it is a long-ass time that you're going there. Between 1977 and 2010, the time that a prisoner has stayed on death row was actually increased by 66%. And in the year 2010, the average death row inmate waited 178 months on death row before being executed, which is
Who breaks it down by months?
which is nearly 15 years, if you are curious about that. And in fact, a couple little facts here coming out for you. More than a quarter of the people on death row die on death row of natural causes before even reaching their execution date. The longest time somebody ever waited on death row before being executed was a man named Thomas Knight, who definitely deserved to die, but was executed in 2014 after spending 39 years on death row. He did have a competitor there, another man named Gary Alvord, who also spent 39 years on death row before he died of a brain tumor. And then finally, the oldest person to ever be on death row was a man named Leroy Nash, and again, they all totally deserved it.
Give me the three. Leroy what Nash?
Yeah, what's his middle? Leroy Jenkins Nash. What was I saying? Yes, he's the oldest person to ever be on death row when he died in February of 2010 at the age of 94 of natural causes.
He basically never even of natural causes. So
natural causes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so he never actually faced the chair.
Never actually. Well, and like we said, 25% of these people on death row don't even see
Does the stress just get to him?
Or just, when you're fucking 70, I can't imagine that prison is, the most hospitable of conditions. Certainly that of death row. I don't think so.
Oh, interesting. I guess we have different opinions.
I guess we have different opinions on maximum minimum security prisons. But those were our notes from the other week. Good stuff. Either way,
you want to guess what the oldest person alive ever was?
Ever?
Yeah. What was the age where the longest person lived to?
God, Jesus Christ is alive in all of us, so I would say 2021 years.
Okay. How about second on the list then?
Is there really a second to our Lord and Savior? I guess if I would have to guess. I did hear of a woman the other day. She's believed to be the oldest person kind of right now, and she was 113 or something.
Is that your final answer?
That was kind of my final answer. Yeah, I'm going to say that.
$1.22.
Wow, what's the point at that point?
I don't know.
When you're 122 years old, when was the last time you fucked? When was the last time you did something fun?
Then again, when you're 122 years old, 20 years feels like it flies by.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, I'm popping up on the 30 mark. I'm a quarter of my way through this woman's life. God, I don't want to do another 3 of this. The first one, which was worse enough. Terrible.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this. I think the reason that time flies as you get older is because when you're 5 to turn to 10, you're like, wow, that took forever because that's double my lifespan. But then once you get to like 40 to 50, you're like, that was a tenth of it. Right?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, just a thought I had, but probably not an original one.
Probably not. I think that was you're more thinking math. Like the distance between 5 and 10 is smaller than the difference between 20 and 40.
Yeah, but it's the same thing like time itself. If you're looking at a car and you're waiting for that 5 to 10 minutes to pass, and you're like, all right, we know we have 10 minutes doing this thing, and 5 minutes goes by, you're like, ugh. But then when you have an hour and it's that last 5 minutes, you're like, it flies by.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I don't care.
It's an idea.
Time's a flat circle. We do know that. Thank you, Matthew McConaughey. Let's get to some other action here on the show because we are kind of a little bit removed from the big game, as it's known to some, and probably others. Of course, we are talking about the Super Bowl, and we are talking about this week's prop bets.
Place your bets.
7.
Place your bets.
Don't forget
21.
to tip your
All
dealer.
bets on the table.
peeking.
All bets on the
Is all
table.
in.
Wins again.
Lucky number
Get out
7.
of here, Sonny. This is the high rollers table.
Now, Cam, this was a segment that you kind of opened up with and started spearheading. Very. You were very excited about it. You brought
Always excited.
You brought this to my attention, and I was really excited to go with you, Cam. However, kind of right before we started the show, you kind of led me to believe that you don't want to handle this week's prop bets. So I'm going to handle this week's prop bets, Cam. First question: how many times will the name Joe Biden be mentioned?
I gave it a 1.5. I think.
It was like it was a 1.5, or no, it was a half. It was a half.
It's a half.
It
So
was a
one
half.
or nothing. Yeah.
So 1 or nothing. Cam, I picked 1. You picked none.
And
It was none, baby. And I'm only saying this because I am not including the pre-show where President Joe Biden and Dr. Jill Biden, the First Lady, did give an address directly.
she's a doctor.
Yes, she is. Doctor in what? Who knows? I think it's one of those things like she has a doctorate, but she's not like a medical practitioner.
Tell her to get on the front lines.
She's not a medical doctor. But I'm not going to count the pre-show.
New York's dying right now, okay? They're hitting their third wave.
I'm not going to count the
let's plow
pre-show
ahead.
because it was the pre-show. It wasn't, the Super Bowl and onward. Super Bowl onwards, kind of like as soon as they do the, anthem and like the songs to begin, but they did give a little address about just like wearing a mask and stuff. So Cam, I'm going to say that you're walking away with that prop bet. Cam, the next
That's
one.
$1 on my end.
Cam, the next one that we had, The Weeknd, and how many songs, or not even just The Weeknd, how many songs will be sung at the Super Bowl? Of course, these days we sort of see the it's all the Super Bowl medley now. We kind of get a couple minutes of each hit, a big theatrical thing, and
I loved it.
in recent years, we always ask ourselves, well, who's the guest going to be? Because there's always somebody else who pops up, always somebody else who's going to pop up. Not the case this year. It was a weekend explosion with nobody else occupying those roles. Now, Cam, the magic number was 8. 8 was where the bet lied. Will there be more than 8 songs or less than 8 songs? Cam, you picked the under. You said that there would be less than 8 songs. Cam, there was in reality 9 different songs performed by The Weeknd from start to finish.
All great.
All the hits, the feeling, if I Can't Feel My Face, Call Out My Name, the new one.
The Hills.
All the hits.
Blinded by the Light.
The theme song from The Hills, which was odd. It's not even his song, but he was doing it anyways. And he was crushing it. So, Cam, I walked away with that bet.
The money's back on your side here.
Money's back on my side. And finally, the color of the Gatorade, which is always the most arbitrary. There has to be somebody who every year profits huge on the Gatorade bet. Either like he has the inside scoop, like literally the inside scoop of Gatorade powder that he's provided to the both teams. I would like to think that like one Gatorade guy is in charge, and he just kind of like, maybe tips the scales in his favor.
Well, see the problem with that, I've always thought about that idea. Like, what if I can get to know that guy? The SEC will, probably not the SEC, but some commission will come down and he's like, so this man makes small time bets of like $3 on, if the Bruins will beat Philly by 1, and then drops $5,000 on this. It's like, we call that an abnormality, and yeah, we're gonna investigate if he gets it right.
Okay. Well, nothing's stopping somebody asking somebody else to make the bet for you.
Well, even then, like, if they're big time gamblers, sure, but if it's an abnormality, people are gonna look into it.
So you're saying if I spontaneously made a bet for like $10,000 for somebody to win something, the government would come down on me?
Someone would probably start asking questions going, hey, Cameron, we've noticed you've never used this betting service. And then now you're walking away with, say you won, the odds were pretty in your favor. Like there was an 80% chance that team was going to win. Just bet on the odds. They'd probably be like, yeah, he was having a fun day, whatever. But like, let's say it was an odd one like that where the odds are pretty against you. I'm going to assume they're going to knock on your door or call your phone and just say like, do you happen to know anyone? No.
And here I thought this was America. Either way, Cam, you and I, neither one of us got this one correct because the answer was blue. Blue Blast. I said yellow. I said lime lemon. Of course, the best flavor of Gatorade, the original one. They got it right the first time.
I said orange, right?
They shouldn't have kept going. You did say orange, in fact. This one was a little more difficult because, there was a chance that both of us would have been wrong, where with some of the other bets we made, one of us was going to be right and one of us was going to be wrong. But it was, in fact...
Did we do the bet that... Sorry to cut you off. Did we do the bet that which color was the purse... What color was the weekend going to come out on? I thought we did. And you said red, and I said black, and he came out in both.
We did make that bet. I did say red. You said black. That one's tough. I think we should have specified that one a little bit more, because I think when I was thinking, I was definitely thinking the color of the jacket. What would the color of the jacket be? Where
I was thinking if he had any black, I would win.
Cam, gotta be more specific on that one next time, because again, another situation where we were both
that was
right.
a bet, though. That's the thing. So I don't know how the odds makers played it.
Yeah, well, I bet it would have been more specific about like what colors what color's the jacket on the outside, right? Because
right.
It's like if he's wearing shorts and you see his socks, you're like, but his socks are black. That means I win. Well, it's like no.
I don't know about you, Cam, but I don't see color on the outside. I only see
you only see it on the inside. You only see color on the inside.
Oof. All right. Well, it looks like we tied up this week, so I think that means I still owe you some money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's it. Those are our prop bets for the week, and who knows? Who knows what the next thing that we can bet on is? I know. Sorry.
I think we can pick whatever we want.
With the big game done, we have to be more creative in finding our prop bets, I think.
Why don't we say something for the news next week?
Just a bet for the news.
Well, like something like one of the news headlines, or here's an idea: coronavirus count one day will end in a 6 or something like that.
Yeah, that one's tough. That one's.
I don't know. I think that one needs a little more thought. But you get.
Yeah, if you want to arbitrarily be throwing around betting, yeah, we do need a little more of a concrete surface before we just.
Yeah. There's something there, though.
I think there is something there. Maybe something we can work on. Let us know. twoceesinapod@gmail.com, baby.
Yeah, there's something. I'll think about that one. That'll go in the brain tickler.
The brain tickler, a.k.a. the spank bank?
Oh, I didn't know that's what they meant.
You didn't know that's what spank bank meant?
No, I know spank bank. I didn't know brain tickler was that. I just meant thinking.
I don't know. I just made that up.
Oh, okay. Looks like we're both talking out of our ass today.
I'm not talking to everything I'm saying is with purpose. I think you're just falling for it.
Well, glad we settled up.
Yeah, glad we settled some of these bets.
Yeah. Glad the Super Bowl's over too, so I don't have to think about NFL. It's a shit sport.
Yeah, boring old football.
Boring old football. And people are like, I only follow football. Fuck you.
Yeah, what a life that must be to only follow. Well, I was gonna say even to like, yeah, to be aware of at least only like one sport maybe, and certainly like I live in a basketball house. We don't watch hockey. We don't watch you'll catch the big fight every so often, but at least like what's going on.
You have an idea.
In the rest of the sports. I have a friend who like I very just kind of offhand. There are people who do this who are like and I can't tell if they're like willfully ignorant of things that go down or you just actually don't know about something. And this came up in a case where I don't know, and I wonder if it's like an issue of like how tied into popular culture you are. Not you, Cam, but like the royal
if you're not
you.
Tied into any social media at all.
Because
pretty easy to be out of.
I remember having a friend who it was I can't remember how it came up, but then I said, "Yep, haha, winter is coming," and then they respond with, "What?" And I'm like, like winter is coming. Like, I don't know what that means. I'm like the tagline from Game of Thrones, the most expensive and popular television show of all time. They're like, nope.
Had they not heard of Game of Thrones?
And they're like, yeah, I've heard of it. I just think it's, I don't want to watch it. I don't like that kind of stuff. And just like in my mind, I was just like, how have you never heard somebody say
that sentence?
Winter is coming. Like, and
it was on billboards everywhere.
It's almost one of those things that was it me not being able to wrap my mind around how somebody could be like not connected to popular culture, or was it a matter of like, am I crazy for thinking everybody? Because if I tell my mom, hey mom, winter is coming, she's not gonna know what the fuck she's talking about.
It's right here, silly. It's February.
Exactly. Unless it's a quote from Wizard of Oz or Sound of Music, she's not gonna get it. And I love her for it.
I don't understand the quote though. I've heard the quote. Don't know what it implies.
Oh, that's great, Cam. I'll fill in your little gap because in the world of Game of Thrones, the seasons do not operate in kind of like a 3 or 4 month chunk like they do here. 7-8 months of summer will be followed by 4 months of winter. But then the next year, it's like a year and a half of summer is followed by a year of winter, and it kind of like it goes exponentially. And what winter is coming means that when the books and shows start, they are about like the longest summer ever is just about to end, and the fear that we are now about to experience the longest winter. And you hear about stories in the past of winter being like 8 years long. So they're anticipating like a decade straight of winter. That's what winter is coming means, because all the bad shit happens during the winter. Everyone's cold, everyone's dies. Of course, all the crops go by the wayside and the bad guys come out, all these sorts of things. But winter is coming just means like it was more of an overarching quote to go around Game of Thrones that it doesn't matter, you guys are fighting about land and who's the king. None of that matters because winter is coming. And it was sort of this ongoing theme that, people would be dying left, right, and center. New people would be trying to claim the kingship, taking over land. And then there's some people who are just like, it doesn't matter. Winter's coming. It doesn't fucking matter what you guys do. So it was more of like an overarching. And yeah, there's certain like little phrases like that in popular culture that some people don't understand, that some people, I can't tell if I'm the crazy one or if they're the crazy one.
Yeah, that's news to me. That sounds like an intriguing show. I might check that one out on my Hulu subscription.
It's fantastic. I'm on book 2 already, Cam. Of course, one of my resolutions that you didn't approve of was to read all 5 Game of Thrones books. So, of course, I am on book 2.
I would approve of that one. I would approve of that one for sure.
Right.
Because that has a goal associated. If you're like, this year I want to read more, it's like, okay, cool.
Right. It was my It was my play around to disc golf every week. That was the one you didn't like.
Yeah, because I thought that was unrealistic.
Well, so far I'm playing 4 rounds a week, so whatever you want to say, Cam. But yeah, that's exactly right. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little more tuned into popular culture than other people are. I don't know. I'm a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, I guess. If that's what you want to call yourself. That's a cool mug. I need a cool mug.
Got a cool mug, baby.
The beef diaper.
The beef diaper. It stays where you put it.
I don't... What?
Yeah, you know those little, when you buy,
Oh,
when you
yep.
buy, you'll
yeah.
kind of buy half a pound of ground chuck, maybe a nice 80-20 or a nice 60-40 kind of like slab of meat, and then it comes in the styrofoam with the plus saran wrap kind of going around top, and always under the beef is always this a beef diaper. There's no better way to explain it than a diaper for your beef. And unfortunately, more often than not, I feel like when I'm purchasing, a nice 90-10 piece of chuck, this beef diaper is just sopping wet, filled with blood, and it's sliding all over the place. I want my beef to stay in one place. Hence the beef diaper. It stays where you put it. Folks, you can just put that piece of 70-30 on it, and it will not move. That's important for me.
That's what the purpose of it is, eh?
Yeah.
So it doesn't slide around. Huh.
Sops, it's
that.
but these corporate or kind of these mass-made corporate big box store beef diapers just can't provide the same protection that you need than as the beef diaper from a local mom and pop shop.
So you're telling me local mom and pop shops have these too? I've never seen one from like a farmer's market or anything.
Yeah, so you can buy them by the, sometimes you'll find a salesman going door to door just trying to sell you little beef diapers, right?
You're telling me someone's come to your door and said, I got a beef diaper you cannot miss out on.
People aren't going door to door. I'm going to their door. They're not coming to me. I'm going to them, of course. Brand new line of products. Of course, we are talking about the beef diaper at Two Seasons Pod. Let us know if you need more protection for your 50-50 ground chuck.
For your 62-38 ground chuck.
Yeah, if you really need that kind of protection, let us know. twoceasinapod@gmail.com. We have a surplus of beef diapers right now.
We thought we ordered 10. We're at 10,000.
Yeah. We skipped the decimal place by a lot. It wasn't like a 10 to 100. No, it was a 10 to 10,000 kind of thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's fun. That's a new product launch we're thinking of doing. Big business.
Very much so.
Big money coming in.
Very much so. Cam, you're yawning over there. It's the morning. The morning's the time of, not yawning. You're supposed to be,
do a little stretch.
supposed to be doing a little stretch.
I came up north today, and last night, and I came up late, and then, then we watched. Have you ever seen the movie? What's it called? Easy Rider.
No, I don't think. I haven't. No, but I know what's going on. It's like an old movie. They're outlaw bikers.
Yeah, and they're just going across the country. And I got caught watching that last night just because my dad was up and, something to do. Anyway, I figured out the movie pace on those 70s movies is so peculiar. Like, the stories, he tells me, he's like, oh, it's a cult classic. I'm like, okay. But this, for example, in today's movies, if you have like a 3-minute segment of something, like, it better be really progressing the storyline. In these movies, there was this scene where they were having an acid trip for 2-3 minutes, but it wasn't like doing anything for the story. It was just like, oh, look at all this like cool thing. Like, oh, look at camera pan over here. Oh, look, they're doing crazy shit. Oh, the music's weird. And it just goes on for so long. And it reminded me of this. Have you seen Deliverance?
No, but I know what's also going on. Cam, you're watching some weird shit.
Well, yeah, my dad watches DVDs up here, and we just, they're old movies. Anyway, the scenes on them, I just find the attention span must have been longer, or the movie making was different, where they just drag these scenes out for no good reason, and it just makes the movie so much like, I guess in today's standards, unnecessarily long. Like you could easily cut half an hour off. But anyway, the movie ends. You're not going to believe this. Do you want to get a spoiler?
Go for it.
No rhyme or reason. These guys are just driving down their motorcycles, and these hillbillies who have not been part of the movie at all. They have not introduced the movie at all. They see them riding. They go, let's give these boys a scare. And they pull out a shotgun from the back of their truck, and they just kill both of them. End of movie.
End of movie. It wasn't so much of an easy ride after all.
Easy Rider. Yeah, but just like so peculiar that let's just end it on this. Like, wow, you guys really couldn't think of a better, maybe resolution to the story or anything? Just kill them both from two random strangers?
I mean, I'm sure there's a reason,
I don't know. It was bizarre. Maybe I'll do some digging into it.
Yeah, there has to be a reason why a movie ends that same kind of way. But Cam, I think, to what you said earlier, it's a little like that's a you problem.
Yeah.
It's a you, not just you. Of course, we're again talking about the royal you. It's a you problem because, Easy Rider, late 60s, early 70s, there wasn't much movies. Movies were still incredibly impressive. Not only were they incredibly impressive, it was more of a cultural event. Now, you take $5,000 and a camera, and you can suddenly create a movie. So certainly the grandiose nature of movie making has kind of gone by the wayside too, right, Cam? I think also one thing you have to remember is that a lot of tropes that we see in today's movies, shows, whatever, derived from back then. Today's a version of, the acid trip in a movie wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for the initial acid trip in a movie. Right?
Yeah,
and
I think I came to realize that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's exactly it.
Something to build something
It's
else.
like, have you ever watched a comedy movie before Jim Carrey? Where there's actually you watch a movie like Caddyshack, where there's 10 minutes of introduction without an actual joke, because they're setting the scene for the rest of the film. Now you watch a Judd Apatow movie, if they're not talking about somebody's cock and balls in the first 90 seconds, you've almost written the movie off. And comedy is a great example of that. Watch something like Caddyshack. Watch something like Meatballs. Watch something like Taxi. Or sorry, not Taxi. The one with Bill Murray. Stripes. Watch Stripes, right? It's something like the movie seems so incredibly slow by today's pace just because especially in a comedy movie, you want a dick joke, followed by a your mom joke, I'm not blaming Judd Apatow for this, but I'm saying he did create a certain standard of what a comedy movie should be, which almost, to somebody who has no time or attention span, has created virtually an impossible watch.
That would be me.
There you go. And you're that exact guy. My gripe that I have is movies being released in the present in black and white.
Didn't Kill Bill do that?
Yeah. Or they did that as they did that as like a re-release after the fact, like the movie came out in color. And then I know Logan did it, and there was a new one. There was a new one on Netflix with Gary Oldman that was all black and white. There's another new one on Netflix coming out in black and white. I don't like that. Just personally, I feel like I feel like if Charlie Chaplin in the 40s or Alfred Hitchcock would have loved to film in all color, but they couldn't. They had to use what they got, and I feel like to go back to create something stylistically is just silly to me. Like, use your fucking color. I don't know. If you want to make a movie from the 30s, go to the 30s and make a shitty movie with shitty sound, shitty grainy film. But like, you're making a black and white movie on like digitally. That, I don't know. It's all backwards to me. But hell,
it's called
I'm
art,
not.
Cam. You wouldn't.
I'm
understand.
not exactly. That's the thing. I'm not an art.
It's a you problem.
I'm not an artist. I wouldn't understand.
It's a you problem, unfortunately.
I'm not an artist.
Let's get into our final game here.
Let's do it. What's it called?
It's called Meat Diaper, or is it just a regular roll of butcher paper. That's right, everyone. It's headline or asinine.
Hey, headline or asinine. Headline or asinine.
We rhyme off the wackiest headlines out there to determine, is it a headline or is it asinine?
Yeah.
I'll give you a headline, Cam.
Go for it.
This is a meat diaper or not?
Beef diaper.
Plane flies over Robin Hood HQ with "Suck My Nuts" banner.
Maybe, now this is the second time Robin Hood has come up in one of our headlines. Of course, you'll remember from a few months ago, the 21-year-old who killed himself because his Robin Hood trading app showed that he owed $250,000 or something. Yeah, so it could have been his family, kind of get back at this. I don't get the deal with this whole. I'm not a trader. I'm not a businessman. So I don't get people being mad that they lost their money investing.
That's not what it is. I can explain it quickly if you want.
Isn't that sort of the risk that you take?
That's not at all what it was. No.
Okay, give me a quick Cole's notes about why people are mad.
Okay, so Wall Street has a history of controlling the market because they have a lot of money invested, so they can do what they want with stocks. Okay, so they were planning on doing a big short, or there was speculation that AMC, GameStop, and BlackBerry, the big three, were going to plummet, and they kind of were very low already. So Reddit, a bunch of people on Reddit, exponentially grew and said, hey guys, let's all invest in this and make it grow. So they did. And then the stock rose. And then Wall Street basically said, hey, this is unacceptable what you guys are doing. We're halting trading. And then Robinhood was, I think, one of the first people to actually make that first cutoff to say, we're no longer allowing people to trade GameStop, BlackBerry, or AMC.
Okay.
So Robinhood, originally the people who said we'll be the investor platform for the people who don't have a lot of money, basically sided with the big wigs to say, oh, you guys don't want us to move these stocks around? Okay, no problem. So everyone who was making money, the little guy who was making money, now got cut off from it.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me, Cam, just because, and you started off by saying that, Wall Street had a history of performing this exact action. And then when the exact action is performed, people are butthurt, which I always find very funny. It's Wall Street has a history of doing these shady things, and people have a history of selling out, and then you're mad when both of those things happen. It's we
I think
knew
it was more
this.
so Wall Street has a history of manipulating the markets.
Yeah.
And the people organized are we're going to manipulate the markets. And they're whoa, only we can do this.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's more of a clear level of understanding before, when they're Wall Street manipulates the markets, but we can overcome. And then they tried, and they're
together,
fuck,
and
no,
then
we
they're
can't
not
overcome.
So fast,
Yeah.
Not so fast. Yeah, exactly. It's we control this because we're the big wigs. And you're but no, this is supposed to be a free market. They're yes, but, what you guys are doing it's unlawful. What you guys do is unlawful all the time. They're yeah, but we understand the markets. And you're yeah, but free, it's one of those.
Yeah, it's one of those both sides blaming the other one, but no actual real serious results coming from it.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me, I'm going to say that's a headline.
That is a headline, yeah. So everyone's really pissed at Robinhood. You've probably seen the news. And someone who was an investor who, they probably lost money because they were no longer allowed to grow. And the thing with once they halt trading, then they're basically just waiting for it to simmer down so then it can fall short again. Anyway, so he flew one of those planes that has the poster boards on it.
Yep.
That says, "Suck my nuts, Robinhood." And just an FYI, it flew pretty far across the California region, the San Francisco region, for several hours, between 3 and 4:30 p.m. So right in a nice head of time, and that is brought to you by Nowadays Marketing.
So 90 minutes.
I didn't say that.
You didn't say 3 to 4:30?
Oh, it's happening at 3 4. A plane. That's Oh, yeah, I guess you're right, yeah. And he said that he gave the pilot some extra money to circle right over Robin Hood's headquarters for a while.
That's interesting.
And he also does not even live there.
One thing I love about that story, Cam, is that comes with it a certain level of wealth and greed to begin with. Like the person who kind of orchestrated this action wasn't a down on his luck Redditor who, thought he got a good stock tip. No, this was probably a millionaire already who was hoping to add millions to his millions, which isn't that the problem in the first place?
Come see, come saw.
Anyway,
let's keep plowing ahead.
Sure, Cam. Here we go. Headliner Asinine. Oklahoma lawmaker proposes the creation of Bigfoot hunting season.
I love this idea from a business standpoint, first of all, because say it's like, okay, yeah, it's Bigfoot hunting season between these two times. Oh yeah, tags, by the way, $9,000 each. And it's just a quick way to make a tax dollar from something really stupid. For that reason, I'm going to go ahead and say headline.
Yeah, Cam, you got it right. This one here is a headline, of course, coming out of Oklahoma, where a bill was introduced by Representative Justin Humphreys, which would create a regulated season for hunting Bigfoot within the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Commission, and set proper dates and fees, of course, to go along with it, like you said. Now, it's just a bill, hasn't been approved yet or anything like that, but the main reason is just tourism. Tourism is a big part of Oklahoma's business, and of course, with tourism falling in the state and the capture of the Tiger King, not many people are coming to Oklahoma anymore. He also hopes that in the next couple months, he could secure a $25,000 reward for capturing the beast. The odds that it's in Oklahoma are pretty small, but hey, if you catch it, that's big news.
Good to know. Well, good thing we can take our corporate retreat there next year.
Amen. Amen.
All right, headliner asinine. YouTuber shot and killed while attempting prank robbery.
Shot and killed. So this has to be something out of the States. If you're shot and killed robbing, yeah, that's probably a United States kind of thing. So this is how can I see this happening? This sounds like a classic situation of one person wasn't in on it, and unfortunately, the one person who wasn't in on it was the one with the gun. Now you think like if you were to do a lot of these soy face kids, they don't know how to properly prank because they were born in the year 2003. They've never seen the Jamie Kennedy experiment. They've never seen Punk'd, where there is an entire operation that goes behind so you only prank one person. This is how Ashton Kutcher would do it. You come up to the convenience store. You're like, hey, we're going to fake a robbery to freak out your employees. The owner of the convenience store would probably say, great, I'll hide the guns. I'll hide the guns and knives so that nothing bad can happen. They're like, great, thumbs up. Nothing bad's going to happen. But this seems like a case, if you haven't seen Punk'd, you would just walk into a convenience store thinking, I'm going to film it. It's going to be funny. But that's not the case. If you want to prank somebody on a scale like that, you need to kind of get the gears moving on a few places. Because if not, you're going to get shot. That's a headline.
That's a headline, and I'll give you a little context here. This is in Nashville, where they have relatively relaxed laws on carrying both knives and any size of knives and guns.
Okay.
Concealed or open. Okay, so take that into account. So, 20-year-old man in Nashville goes into a urban air, a trampoline and adventure park in a strip mall in Nashville, and I don't know exactly what the prank was. It's not very clear on that, but they're wielding butcher knives. Starnes, sorry, the full name, I don't have all three names, unfortunately. David Starnes Jr., if you want to call it three names, was amongst those people who were there and did not realize they were filming a prank, pulled out his gun and shot the man because, when someone comes in playing a prank robbing someone with a knife in an open carry state, I don't think it's the best idea. So it looks like he's not getting charged right now. There's under investigation, blah, blah, blah. But Yeah, kind of a sad state of the world that, that old, it's just a prank, bro, sometimes doesn't go your way.
I was going to say also sad state that somebody thinks that's a prank. Like, that's not a prank. Putting cellophane on the toilet seat so someone, when you go to pee, like it just kind of bounces off. That's a prank. Taking multiple alarm clocks and setting them for 4 a.m, 4:01, 4:02, and putting them all in my stepsister's bedroom. That's a prank. Okay, robbing somebody is not a prank. Like, I'm trying to think, what's the best case scenario?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, like what was the outcome?
Best case scenario, they get caught and charged anyways with robbery with a deadly weapon. I learned this recently. If you sold somebody oregano and told them it was weed, that's still illegal. You can't sell stuff, even if it's not illegal. You can't sell it pretending to be the illegal thing. I think this would be no difference. Fuck that kid. I hope he had that real soy face before he died. That shocked mouth agape.
You
like,
love that soy face.
I do.
Eh?
Fuck those kids, man. It's the worst. I don't know. There's somebody on my Instagram profile, by the way. I'm talking to all of you on my Instagram. You know how like your algorithm is influenced by things that other people look at, and there's like fucking TikTok kids and shit. And I don't know who on my Instagram is like, watching these TikTokers, but I'm about to unfollow everybody because I need to get this shit off of my feed. I just want to see basketball, wrestling, and skateboarding. That's really all I want to see.
I want to see Tony Hawk.
I want to see
two highlights.
Yeah, Tony Hawk. I want disc golf. I want wrestling. It's really that easy. I don't want to see these fucking cucks coming up on my Insta cam. Ready for your next headline?
Hit it.
Man lives undetected in Chicago airport for 3 months.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume this isn't a headline from like today because there's not a lot of traffic there, but I could easily see that happening. I think it'd be detected a little bit, right? Like someone's like, have you guys noticed after a week, like I keep seeing this guy, like it's like, oh, he travels a lot. And if that's the case, if you're just hanging around in lobbies and kind of like switching them daily and, finding ways to, I don't know how you'd eat personally, because I feel like if you do that, you're a little bit, who knows the situation. I'm going to go ahead and say a headline though.
Cam, you are right. This is a headline. However, it is a new headline. It is a story about a California man who was scared to go back to California due to COVID and chose to live it out in Chicago's O'Hare International Airport for 3 months. The story about Aditya Singh, 33-year-old man, who was arrested at the airport and charged with impersonation in a restricted area and theft less than $500. So this man arrived to the airport on October 19th. And he was arrested on the 16th of January when he was found out. So, in order to slip through these cracks, he assumed the credentials of a United Airlines manager who lost their airport ID. So that's what allowed him to kind of get access to the spaces that normal people wouldn't be allowed into. The bigger question is, the bigger question the judge wants answered is, how did he go unnoticed for that amount of time? There were people who saw him every day and they would wave a friendly hello thinking he just works there. The craziest part, not only that, maybe it's somewhat conceivable because did you know that Chicago's O'Hare National Airport is the busiest airport in the world? Where pre-pandemic, of course, 84.6 million passengers travel through Chicago's O'Hare Airport every single year.
Insanity. Obviously that number's dropped, but that's a fun prank, bro.
That's a fun prank. See, nobody died.
Nobody
Fun
hurts
prank.
and nobody cries.
Fun prank. A good prank is when no one dies. Yeah.
All right, headline or on Cam. Alberta government no longer allowed to discuss weather at beginning of meetings.
I wonder if this is such a Canadian headline too, because of course you're gonna talk about the weather. I was on the phone with my grandmother last night, and of course we're talking about how cold it is. We have to put the coat on the dog to take him for a walk. The little booties. It's just too cold to be outside. It's gonna come up in conversation. I wonder. I like to think this is like an official doc. Like every year or every week or whatever, they have 2 hours of possible meeting time, and that's sort of it. There is an end time. However, they spend 45 minutes just talking about the weather, and they can't actually address any serious issues, like all the other crazy shit that happens in Alberta on a daily basis. There's still people who want conversion therapy in Alberta. It's a fucked up place. So to create such a rule, not allowing you to even talk about the weather, is so funny. I like to think that they've come up with maybe ways around it, when they say my son's doing well in school. What that actually means is the weather was nice. And when
that's fun.
Oh, my son got a D on their algebra, that means snow's coming.
I'd prefer if it was someone came up with the birds are chirping today, and someone's like, that sounds like weather talk to me. We better shut that down.
You better shut that down. I like to think now, so not only in the meetings is there kind of like a COVID officer making sure everyone follows protocols. No, there is a person there just kind of snapping at every single.
There's they open the meeting saying that here's the 5 things we will not talk about today: COVID cases, weather, huge. That one's really off. All right. And also Kim's new haircut. By the way, it looks great, Kim.
Yeah. All the things we cannot talk about. That's great, Cam. I've got one more headline here for you.
You didn't
ready?
say if it was a headline or asinine.
Oh, shit, I didn't. So sorry. I'm going to say that's asinine.
Yeah, I made it up.
I forgot. Cam, I have one more headline here for you. Ready for it? Woman who killed boyfriend to marry her father sentenced to 40 years in prison.
Killed boyfriend, marry her father. I'm going to go ahead and assume she killed the boyfriend, and then her father is a play on words because it wouldn't be her legal father. So I don't think any court in any place will legally allow you to marry your father. If it was marry stepfather and killed husband to marry father, I'd believe it. But I think you got yourself in a little bit of a lie here. Asinine.
Cam, this is a headline, and this is coming out of the great state of West Virginia. There's no North, South, or East Virginia, just West Virginia and Virginia. But that's a conversation for another day. This is a story that happened to 32-year-old Amanda McClure, who pled guilty. And sentenced to 40 years in prison for killing her boyfriend on Valentine's Day in 2019. So we're just coming up on the 2-year anniversary of this death. John McGuire, the boyfriend, was found this past September with his remains on the property, buried in a shallow grave of one Larry McClure, the defendant's biological father, who helped his daughter to kill her boyfriend, dismember the body, and let go of the remains. The father, who previously just got off a fresh 17-and-a-half-year sentence for the sexual assault of a minor, helped his daughter bury the boyfriend. The daughter and the father, apparently they beat and tortured the boyfriend over the course of several days before doing the old garbage bag around the head to suffocate him. 3 weeks after killing him, they drove down to neighboring Virginia to obtain a marriage license so they could marry each other, but they were turned away as marriage between father and daughter is illegal in the state of Virginia.
I'm not surprised. I'm
not
not
surprised
they
it
banned that
happened in
one.
West Virginia, or are you not surprised that it's illegal?
That it's illegal. I'm more surprised that they thought they would get away with it.
They thought they'd get away with it. I don't know how that happens. Yeah. So poor guy. He was a father of 5, which is too bad.
Oh my God.
But yeah.
Okay, let's plow ahead.
But all I gotta say, I think the biggest takeaway from this particular story is, if you're dating a partner, you could be dating a man, dating a woman, double check on the relationship they have with their parents. When
Never
you,
a bad idea.
When you see them at Thanksgiving, is it a friendly kiss on the cheek or is it a kiss on the lips? If it's a kiss on the lips, I think
is there tongue? Is there a little bit?
there
of tongue?
may be cause for concern, right? Is your father-in-law grabbing your partner's bottom with a little tap? At the end of after she clears the dishes from the table, like, good job, honey. A little butt tap. I really don't know, but you do want to focus on what that relationship is.
All right. Well, that brings us to the conclusion of another show. Great work this week, Cam.
That was another
I hear them-
fantastic episode.
Another fantastic episode. So thanks again for tuning in.
You can rate,
Let
review,
your
like,
friends
and
know.
subscribe. Of course, like you said, we're everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google, and just flat out online. The shit's on YouTube. It's all going off. And I think that's all that we have for the week.
That's it, everyone. And remember, stay warm out there. In 2019, 21 people died as a result of their polar vortex. Stay safe.
Take care, folks.
Continuing
Tonight on Two C's in a Pod. 96.7 on your...
Two C's in a pod, 2 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 C's in a pod, because we're 2 C's in a pod, just like 2 C's in a pod, 2 C's in a pod at gmail.com.